I want to remind our Republican colleagues that crime in D.C. over the last few years has actually been going down. And quite frankly, the idea that we're now going to put middle schoolers in prison, this should be called the Middle Schoolers for Prison Act, is inhumane and shameful. We can all agree that crime should be taken on, that D.C. and other cities we want to make safer. But this idea that we're going to penalize children in middle school at the age of 14 and put them in prison is irresponsible and, quite frankly, it's un-American. I want to remind my colleagues that at this moment, what we're doing right now is stripping 700,000 residents who have come together in D.C. to create laws, to bring community together, to fight for statehood and representation. We're going to strip them from their ability to manage their own city. These efforts do nothing to reduce crime or improve public safety. And once again, I know that the president is obsessed with Washington, D.C. He's obsessed with its local laws. I ask him once again, he should step down as president and run for mayor if he's so interested. Let's not put 14-year-olds in prison. And with that, I have no more speakers, and I'm prepared to close.
Mr. Speaker, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States, and it should reflect the glory and the beauty and the grandeur of the most powerful civilization that has ever existed on the face of the earth. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, that's not the case under Democrat rule. Under Democrat rule, especially in our nation's capital, we are forced to live under the cloud of anarcho-tyranny where criminals roam free and law-abiding families live in fear. Mr. Speaker, under President Trump's leadership, Republicans are restoring law and order to cities that have been virtually abandoned by the left. That's why I introduced the D.C. Juvenile Sentencing Reform Act to make sure that violent criminals are treated like violent criminals no matter what their age. Mr. Speaker, in 2021, Uber Eats driver Mohammed Anwar was murdered in D.C. during a carjacking by two teenage girls. One of the criminals was 15 years old. She was convicted of felony murder, and she was given a maximum sentence under D.C. law, and she'll be free when she turns 21 years old. That's 6 years for murder, for taking a father away from his family. This bill ensures that that travesty of justice never happens again. Mr. Speaker, the reality of crime in D.C. is bleak. D.C.'s homicide rate in 2024 was 27.3 per 100,000. That is the fourth highest in our nation. In the first 6 months of 2025 alone, juveniles in D.C. were arrested 900 times, and many of those arrests were for repeat violent offenders. Around 200 juveniles arrested for violent crimes in 2024 had prior violent crime arrests. Mr. Speaker, this isn't rehabilitation. This is a revolving door of crime that the left has created in this city. Meanwhile, the D.C. City Council passed reforms to weaken policing and reduce penalties for carjacking and robbery. They're choosing, as a matter of policy, criminals over innocent Americans. Mr. Speaker, we hear from the other side of the aisle that locking up criminals by some weird, bizarre logic increases crime. The reality, which we all know because it is self-evident, is that when a criminal is in jail, they are by definition not committing crimes on our streets and not terrorizing innocent Americans. We're told that if we care about public safety, we shouldn't put criminals in prison. Mr. Speaker, this is insane, and they know it, and the American people know it. If we want to live in a law-abiding society, we have to get these violent, ruthless offenders off of our streets. That's what Republicans are doing, and that's what Democrats on the other side of the aisle are fighting right now. Mr. Speaker, this legislation lowers the age for transfer to adult court from 16 to 14 for the most heinous crimes, We're talking about murder, first-degree sexual assault, armed robbery, and burglary. It expands the cases that can be tried by the U.S. Attorney's Office, ensuring that woke, weird prosecutors like D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab can't let violent offenders slip through the cracks. It sends a simple message. Democrats may tolerate crime, but Republicans do not.